Have you ever wondered about the very beginnings of our stories? Where do our ideas of right and wrong come from? For billions of people, the answers begin in a collection of ancient texts we call the Old Testament. It is not just one book, but a library. It is filled with history, poetry, laws, and prophecies. These writings were created over thousands of years by many different authors. They tell a grand story about God and humanity's long journey. It is a story that has shaped our world in ways we might not even realize. It speaks of creation, of great leaders, and of the enduring search for meaning in our lives. The Old Testament forms the foundation of Judaism and is a sacred text for Christians as well. It is a cornerstone of what we call the Abrahamic faiths, but its influence reaches far beyond any one religion. These stories have journeyed through centuries, passed down from one generation to the next. They have inspired countless works of art, music, and literature. Think of the great paintings of the Renaissance or the powerful music of Handel's Messiah. They all draw from this deep well of human experience. The questions these texts ask are the same questions we ask ourselves today. Who are we? Why are we here? And how should we live? This collection of writings is more than just a historical document. It is a tapestry woven with threads of human emotion. It explores love, jealousy, hope, and despair. It tells of great triumphs and terrible failures. Through these tales, we see a reflection of our own struggles and our own potential for greatness. The people in these stories are not perfect. They are flawed, they make mistakes, but they also show incredible strength and resilience. They search for connection, for forgiveness, and for a higher purpose, just as we do. Their journey becomes a map for our own, offering guidance and comfort. Understanding the Old Testament is like opening a window to the ancient world. It gives us a glimpse into the beliefs and cultures that have profoundly shaped our modern societies. It introduces us to ideas of justice, compassion, and community that are still central to our values. Whether you approach it as a person of faith or as a student of history, its pages hold powerful lessons. It is a conversation that has been going on for millennia, and we are all invited to listen in. It challenges us to think about our place in the universe and our responsibility to one another. Let's travel back to the very beginning. The Old Testament opens with a beautiful and poetic story of creation. It tells of a world formed out of darkness, with light, water, land, and all living things being brought into existence. And at the heart of this new world are the first two humans, Adam and Eve. They live in a perfect garden, a paradise called Eden. Their story is one of innocence, temptation, and consequence. It explores the very nature of human choice and the idea of free will. It asks a fundamental question: what happens when we disobey? Their story sets the stage for the complex relationship between humanity and the divine. As the human story unfolds, we encounter a tale of immense scale, the Great Flood. The world had become a place of great turmoil, and a man named Noah was chosen for a monumental task. He was instructed to build a massive boat, an ark, to save his family and a pair of every kind of animal from a catastrophic flood meant to cleanse the earth. The story of Noah's Ark is one of faith in the face of ridicule and obedience during a time of crisis. It is a powerful symbol of destruction, but also of renewal and a second chance. The rainbow that appears after the waters recede becomes a promise of hope for a new beginning. These origin stories are not just simple tales for children. They are profound narratives that have captivated the human imagination for thousands of years. They wrestle with some of the biggest questions we have. Where did everything come from? Why is there suffering in the world? Can we find redemption after making a mistake? These are not easy questions, and the Old Testament does not always give easy answers. Instead, it provides stories that allow us to explore these deep mysteries for ourselves. They are a starting point for a much larger conversation about the human condition. The lessons from these early stories resonate with us regardless of our beliefs. The story of Adam and Eve teaches us about responsibility for our actions. It shows that our choices have consequences for ourselves and for others. Noah's story, on the other hand, is a testament to perseverance and hope. It encourages us to hold on to faith even when the world around us seems to be falling apart. It reminds us that even after the most devastating storms, there is always the possibility of a new dawn. These narratives provide a framework for understanding our own capacity for both failure and for incredible resilience. One of the most powerful and defining stories in the Old Testament is the story of the Exodus. It is the epic tale of Moses, a man who would lead his people from slavery to freedom. The Israelites were enslaved in Egypt, suffering under the harsh rule of the Pharaoh. Moses, who was raised in the Pharaoh's own palace, was called by God from a burning bush to become their liberator. This story is a cornerstone of Jewish identity, but its message of liberation has inspired oppressed people all over the world. It is a timeless narrative about the fight against injustice and the deep human desire to be free. The journey that Moses and his people undertook was not an easy one. It was filled with challenges and miracles. We hear of plagues that fell upon Egypt, convincing the Pharaoh to let the people go. We see the incredible image of the Red Sea parting, allowing the Israelites to escape their pursuers. This event is a powerful symbol of divine intervention and the idea that hope can create a path where none seems to exist. For 40 years the people wandered in the desert, a period of testing and transformation. It was during this time that Moses received the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai, a moral and ethical code that would shape Western civilization. The 10 Commandments are perhaps one of the most famous parts of the Old Testament. They provide a set of fundamental rules for how to live a just and compassionate life. These principles, such as, "You shall not murder" and "You shall not steal," are not just religious laws. They have become the bedrock of legal systems and moral codes across the globe. They speak to a universal understanding of how to build a society where people can live together in peace and respect. The commandments represent a shift from mere survival to the creation of a community bound by shared values and responsibilities. The story of Moses is a profound lesson in leadership and faith. He was a reluctant hero, full of self-doubt, yet he rose to the occasion, trusting in a power greater than himself to guide him. His story teaches us about courage, the courage to stand up to tyranny, and the courage to lead people through uncertain times. It also teaches us about the importance of laws and shared principles in holding a community together. The Exodus is more than a historical account. It is an enduring symbol of hope that even in our darkest moments of struggle, a journey toward a promised land is always possible. The stories of the Old Testament are not relics of a distant past. They are living narratives that continue to echo through our modern world in countless ways. They have shaped our languages, with phrases like an eye for an eye or the writing on the wall becoming common expressions. They have influenced our laws, our art, and our understanding of justice. The struggles and triumphs of figures like Adam, Noah, and Moses have become universal archetypes, representing fundamental aspects of the human experience that we all recognize. Their stories are woven into the very fabric of our culture. Beyond culture, these ancient tales offer timeless lessons that anyone can appreciate. They teach us about the importance of courage in the face of adversity, like David standing up to the giant Goliath. They show us the power of faith and perseverance, as seen in the long journey of the Israelites. They remind us of the need for compassion and forgiveness. These are not lessons that belong to one group of people or one period in history. They are universal truths that speak to the core of what it means to be human, offering guidance for how to navigate the complexities of our own lives. The influence of these stories can be seen in movements for social change throughout history. The story of the Exodus in particular has been a powerful source of inspiration for those fighting for freedom and civil rights. Its message that no one should be enslaved has fueled revolutions and given hope to the oppressed. It serves as a powerful reminder that systems of injustice are not permanent and that the struggle for liberation is a righteous one. In this way, an ancient story continues to do powerful work in the world today, inspiring people to build a better, more just future for everyone. In the end, the Old Testament is a gift. It is a collection of stories that connects us to the generations who came before us, and to the great, timeless questions of life. It invites us to look at our world with a sense of wonder, and to consider our place within a story that is much larger than our own. Whether we read them as sacred scripture or as profound literature, these tales have an enduring power. They challenge us to be better, to have hope, and to believe in the possibility of redemption. They are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a story of God and humanity that continues to unfold.